What's up, everyone? It's Ruby here, bringing you guys another video. So today, instead of streaming, I'm going to do another Honest Opinions video. Because I was going to stream, but then Twitch decided not to work. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about we are going to talk about League of Legends. So, a couple weeks ago, for the first time, I played League of Legends. I streamed it. Well, not the first time, technically. Technically the second time. Technically, I played League of Legends in, 2011. Something like that. 2011, maybe 2012. But I played in that time zone. That time range. And I definitely wanted to keep an open mind to trying it again. It's not that I hate League, but I don't like it. League is a game that I respect the hell out of, but it's not for me. I was interested in trying out League again because it's been hyped up in so many of my communities that I'm part of. And I was curious, okay, I've been kind of putting down League for a while for reasons. And I wanted to see, well, maybe if I give it another shot, my mind will be changed. It's not that League was a bad game. And trust me, I have played it more offline than I have online, like streaming. I have played it offline. I did a bunch of the bots stuff, and I really tried to get into League, but it didn't necessarily work. League is a game that certainly looks pretty, and it has a lot of great artwork done for it, and it has a interesting community part of it. But the biggest driving factor, Corey, okay, is the game itself, right? Top down strategy game, I guess. Competitive. And naturally, competitive environments are going to be toxic. It just happens to be the case. People like to trash talk. People get really sensitive about certain things. People don't really give new players the light of day. Or they don't really give new players the opportunity to really grow and learn. They just straight up trash talk you. They don't care if you're new. But that's not the point, okay? You can be new and you can practice and you can get better. But the problem is, okay, that there is so much about the community that is hyped one way or another, whether it's in a positive or negative light, where you think you should enjoy it, but I don't. I did enjoy it when I streamed it because I enjoyed seeing people suffer with the choices that I made, the things that I did. And to be fair, I don't have long hours in League. I'm sure if I dedicated my time to get better at League and I actually learned how to play it properly, it would probably be a fine game. However, I don't think it will ever be a game that I truly enjoy because it's just not my game. We'll be talking about Dragon Age in A little bit, I think. I want to complete the trilogy before I talk about Dragon Age fully, but I definitely have thoughts on Dragon Age as well. And if you really think about it, Dragon Age is kind of a longer version and a more 3D version of League of Legends. It has the same style of combat where you have powers that you unlock and you have abilities that you eventually unlock, and you use that to get better and fight and really get into it. And the more you level up, the better you get. You get better at figuring out which abilities you need, which abilities you don't need, which ones are useless, which ones are really powerful. And eventually you dedicate so many hours that you know the ins and outs of the game and you then enjoy it for real. That is not my type of game, okay? I don't really like spending hours on end trying to figure out how a game works. And I believe League is a game that is kind of basic on a forefront, but really complex once you get into it, right? On the forefront, it looks like you just click buttons and la-di-da, right? But it's more than that. There is a definite strategy that is into playing League. There's certain ways of doing things and certain ways to not do things. Again, that is a type of game that I just don't like. I don't like it. I don't like games where you have to play one way versus the other. I mean, there's always going to be a right way and a wrong way. There's always going to be a more efficient way and a non-efficient way. But I like to be able to learn, and I like to be able to try different things. For the most part, in League, there are certain unspoken rules that you kind of have to follow in order to get actually better at the game. There's a difference between just pointing and clicking and just like button smashing, basically the equivalent of button smashing, versus actually knowing what you're doing and using your powers to your advantage. And there's definitely a time and a place where I could sit down and I could probably take like a course in like League of Legends, and then once I get good at it, I'd really enjoy it. And that's why my theory was kind of. Except I did something that was an interesting way to do it. I did it without wanting any help whatsoever, because I know that a lot of my people who follow me live League and play League all the time. And I wanted an authentic version, authentic play. I didn't want any tips. First of all, I don't like tips in general. If I want tips, I'll go ask for them. I'll go look for them. And I did. And I've learned from those tips. I have. But for the most part, I don't like it when people just tell me what to do. Tell me how to play the game. So I literally told my chat, don't tell me anything. Don't tell me. You're going to want to. It's going to hurt you. A lot of things I do, but I don't want to know. Because I want to get to a point where I can like actually give you guys like my live reactions to games. I can learn with you. I can play with you. And I don't want to risk spoiling the experience by having people come in and tell me what to do. There are definitely people who will come in and they mean the best, and they will tell you how to play the game. That is not something that I like at all. And I think that's also why I don't necessarily like League, because it's really a game designed for people to tell you what to do. You do this, you do that, you go top, not bottom, you go into the jungle, whatever. Whatever terms you want to use. You use these characters in this region, you use other characters in this region. You have these types of fighters, and you have really technical terms, and I'm sure you can learn them. But as someone who is not dedicating my life to League and only seeing interest because I'm curious and not because I actually enjoy those types of games, it's not really going to translate well, and I don't think League really translated well with me. I am glad that I gave it a shot because for a game that is really popular, I was curious. And I don't think judging it based on my like 2 minute experience that I had in like 2014 or 2011, whatever year it was that I played it, I don't think that's fair. So I wanted to give it an honest shot again. But I was not surprised that I didn't really like it. And you might say, well, you didn't like it because you're not good at it. You're right. But it's not just because of that, okay? My honest opinion about League is that it is a respectable game. I definitely think it earned its place where it's at right now. Okay, there's certain games that didn't at all earn their spot. And I think you know what game I'm talking about. But then there's others like League that are really respected and blew up for a reason, okay? And League wasn't necessarily one of those games that like blew up instantly. I feel like as people got better, it started to get more and more popular. Like at launch, it was okay, but throughout the years, it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. Especially when the esports dropped. When the esports started happening, that was when I feel like League reached its peak. Because I did follow League a little bit. I mean, I didn't really play it, but I know people talked about it a lot. And I know when people talked more and more and more about it. But, you know, certain games, like, I just want to try because I honestly know that it's going to make a good stream experience. But I don't necessarily want to do it to where I am, like, for me, okay, it was an enjoyable stream experience because I was seeing my chat suffer based on the things that I was doing. And I was also figuring out, okay, well, what do I do? You know, I was literally learning the game live. At that point, I had no tutorial. Well, I went through the tutorial, but I had no real aid, no tips, no sort of anything like that. And I intentionally did this, okay? I intentionally did it. Because I knew either way, whether I was good or bad at it, it would be an interesting experience. It would be an entertaining experience. And it was. But to do it over and over and over and over again, that's not something that I like to do. First of all, I'm not a League streamer. I don't like esports. Never have. I find it interesting to watch, but I generally don't play esports games because I don't find the enjoyment in them. The loosest esports game that I've ever played and actually enjoyed is Call of Duty. And Call of Duty isn't really an esports game, but I mean, I definitely know it has some sort of like tournaments and stuff, so I guess it is technically. I don't know, it's weird. Like, there's certain parts of COD that have kind of become esports, and there's other parts that haven't. I mainly play COD for the campaign. I know, weird, right? But I actually, most of the time, I actually play COD for the story. Not necessarily the multiplayer. Not necessarily the competitive. But I do play COD from time to time. And I have streamed it as well, which has been interesting. But I never got interested in it in a competitive way. Some streamers have. You know, there's certain things where you prefer it just to be casual once in a while. You don't necessarily love it, but you don't necessarily like it. I mean, you don't necessarily love it, but you don't necessarily hate it either. You're kind of in the middle where you like it, you respect it, but it's just not something that you want to dedicate your whole life to. And I feel like League is one of those games where you kind of have to dedicate a good portion to it in order to actually enjoy it. Otherwise, there's not really a point to it. And I think that for some people, it's really fun because it's a pretty easy game to learn in some sort of way. Well, it's easy to learn the basics. It's much harder to learn the more esports techniques. But there's definitely a reason why people stream it, right? It's easy to stream. It can be fun to learn. But for me, I actually do enjoy the characters, though. The characters, I feel like, are really interesting and nicely fleshed out. There's a good variety of them, too. And I think that's also kind of the problem, though, that there's so many fighters that you don't really know who to, like, try out, who your main is going to be. Like, I didn't really try out too many people. I just went with Miss Fortune because that was literally recommended to me by the game. So I just, like, went with it. But I'm sure, like, maybe, like, if I had explored more fighters, like, I did change different fighters, trying to find one that I really enjoyed. Out of the ones that I tried, I definitely enjoyed Miss Fortune more. But, the League stream was a one-time thing. I was just doing it for fun. I figured, I'll try it. We'll see what happens. I don't think I will return to League anytime soon. I think that's also the problem with League, is that League is a game where you can't really take breaks from it and maintain like the skill or the techniques for it. I mean, a lot of games are kind of like that. With COD, it's pretty easy to figure out. You just point and click. There's other aspects to it, but with COD, you don't really need that much skill in order to figure out the gist of it. League is a game that you definitely need a familiarity with it in order to get the gist of it. I mean, you can get minor details, like, you're supposed to get the turrets in the tower or whatever. But the nitty-gritty stuff, you really need people to tell you how to do it and what to do. And that's just not me. It's just not me. And honestly, the community is trash. There's some really good people part of League, but of course, again, it's a competitive game. It's competitive nature. It's going to be toxic, whether that's a good thing, not a good thing, but whether that's a valid argument or not. Competitive things, they're going to be toxic no matter what. They just are. People get competitive, people get into it, people get really aggressive about it. And it's not that I necessarily hated League. It's just not something that I'm willing to dedicate time to. Would I recommend League? Honestly, yeah. I would recommend trying it. First of all, I would also recommend not starting in PvP. There's modes that you can use where you can go against bots and you can practice, and those are ones that I recommend doing before you get into PvP, because that is definitely how you get trashed all the time. But also, I would say, if you enjoy esports and you enjoy like the top-down type of style, and you enjoy stuff like Path of Exile, other esports other games, like, you would enjoy League. Like, I feel like if you I feel like already whether or not you would enjoy League. Like, if you know it, you know it. Like, I feel like you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. Well, not necessarily hate it, but you're not going to like it. And that's kind of my thoughts on League. Those are my opinions on League of Legends. Hope you guys enjoyed this sort of honest opinions, honest reviews or whatever on games that I've streamed. We're going to continue doing this We're gonna do it for Fallout. We're gonna do it for Kingdom Come. We're gonna do it for every game that I've streamed or played that I remember. There are certain games that I've streamed, I'm sure, that I just forgot about. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's up to you. But we're going to go into those. I mean, some things I don't necessarily remember everything about, but I know my general thoughts and opinions about them. And we're going to go into all of them. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry that there's no stream today. Again, that's not my fault. I was going to stream. Twitch said no. And so I said, okay, I'm not going to do it. But I hope you guys enjoyed either way. And peace out. Peace out, guys. It's been a blast.